Room 113 was supposed to be a sanctuary, a place for giggles, late-night whispers, and shared dreams. Instead, it became a silent tomb. It happened on December 23rd, 1998. 7 girls, all 17, all top students, all dead in their beds by morning. 1 girl survived, and her story was stranger than fiction. But what if I told you it wasn't the last time? This is the outrageous story that shattered Xi'an High School and the chilling pattern it revealed across China. Xi'an High School wasn't just any school, it was the school. Sitting proudly in the Tianjin region, it had a reputation like Harvard, and the Seoul National rolled into one. Students who made it through its gates were destined for China's elite universities. But that prestige came at a cost. Every student was required to live on campus, no matter how close they lived to home. Dorms were strict, monitored, and isolated. Once you were in, you were in. No leaving unless you got special permission signed by both a teacher and a dorm supervisor. Room 113 was home to 8 girls, all of them 17 in their final year. The pressure was unreal. Endless studying, no phones, no distractions, just books, exams, and discipline. But despite the intense grind, the girls of Room 113 had become close. They shared snacks, study notes, secrets, like sisters. That's why what happened that night hit so hard. December 23rd started like any other school day. Classes ran late into the evening, and some of the girls stayed in the library longer than others. Around midnight, one of the students from a nearby room, let's call her Lynn, returned from a late-night study session. As she approached her hallway, she noticed something strange. The smell. This wasn't the usual teenage stuff, not dirty laundry, not shampoo. This was chemical, sharp, like something had spilled or spoiled. She paused outside room 113, knocked, no answer, knocked again, still nothing. It was late, past curfew. Most students were asleep. Lynn figured it was nothing urgent, maybe a clogged drain. She mentioned it to a dorm supervisor and tried to sleep, but the smell didn't go away. In fact, it got stronger. Around 6 a.m., Lynn went back to check. Winter mornings in China are bitter and dark, and the hallways were already buzzing with students heading for showers or early study sessions. But room 113 was silent, too silent. She knocked again, still no answer. Something was off. She pushed the door open. The air hit her like a punch. That chemical stench was thick now, nearly choking. The room was dark, blinds drawn. She had reached for the light switch and froze. 7 girls lay sprawled around the room, some in their beds, others on the floor. Their bodies were twisted, some curled in fetal positions, others slumped as if they'd collapsed mid-step. There was vomit, blood, urine, scratch marks on the floor, fingernails broken, foam at the mouth. Lynn screamed. The entire floor rushed over. Some students fainted, others ran. The dorm supervisor called the police, who arrived within minutes and sealed off the building. When paramedics examined the scene, it was already too late. All 7 girls were dead. One bed was empty. That's when they realized one roommate was missing, Sun Ru. She wasn't in the room, she wasn't in the infirmary. For a moment, everyone assumed she'd run away, maybe from fear or guilt, but she wasn't hiding. They found her calmly walking across the schoolyard as if nothing had happened. When approached, she didn't flinch. "Yeah," she said, "I was in the room I left this morning." That's when the nightmare turned into a full-blown crime scene. Sun Ru had slept in that room, surrounded by the bodies of her friends, then walked out at dawn. She just stepped over them like nothing had happened, and now she was talking to school authorities with the same attitude. The police couldn't make sense of it at first. 7 dead, 1 alive, no sign of forced entry, no struggle, no intruder, just cups, and a girl who walked away clean. But when the toxicology reports came back, it confirmed everyone's worst fear. It wasn't an accident, it wasn't carbon monoxide, it wasn't bad food, it was murder. The poison, methamidophos, a pesticide so toxic it's banned in most countries. Ingesting even 2 milligrams could kill an adult in minutes. The girls had consumed nearly twice that. And it was in everything. The water bottles, the apple slices, the cups. So investigators followed the poison. They tracked the poison back to a local agricultural shop just a few miles from the school. The owner remembered the customer well. It's not every day a high school girl buys lethal chemicals. At first, police believed the buyer to be Liu Shuangshan, one of the victims. A quiet girl, but troubled. Rumors had already begun swirling that she'd been going through something personal. But when the shopkeeper saw the photo lineup, he pointed at someone else. It wasn't Liu Shuangshan, it was Sun Ru. And that's where the questions began to twist. Why would she buy poison? Why didn't she drink any? And why was she so calm? They brought her back in, this time with evidence. They laid it out, the fingerprints, the purchase records, the cause of death. Sunru still didn't panic, but her voice cracked. It was Liu's idea, she whispered. She was pregnant. Her boyfriend left her. She didn't want to die alone. That's when the story shifted. Sunru wasn't just a survivor. She was an accomplice, maybe even the puppet master. Sun and Liu had been best friends, closer than close. They shared everything, notes, meals, secrets. They even stayed up at night dreaming about university, jobs, love. But in the second semester of the 11th grade, something changed. Liu fell in love. She started dating a boy in their class, and for a while she was happy. She talked about marriage, about a future, but by the time senior year rolled around, she wasn't glowing with love anymore. She was hiding something. She was pregnant, and the boy, he dumped her the moment she told him. No support, no responsibility, just gone. Liu spiraled. Her grades tanked. She was exhausted all the time. She stopped smiling. One day she broke down and told Sun everything. If the school finds out, I'll be expelled. If my parents find out, they'll disown me. I'll have nothing left. She begged Sun to help her die. At first, Sun refused, but Liu pushed hard. You're not killing me, she said. Just help me buy the poison. Sun's family were farmers. She knew where to get it, and eventually she gave in. She bought the pesticide, handed it to Liu, and thought that was the end. But it wasn't. The day before the murders, Liu and Sun sat together in the common room studying, laughing, pretending everything was normal. That night, Liu held the bottle in her hands, ready to drink. Sun tried to stop her. Liu hesitated, then said something that would haunt investigators forever. I can't die alone. Dying by myself feels too lonely. And then she asked for something unthinkable. Help me kill the others. 7 innocent girls. Their only crime? Sharing a room with the wrong people. Sun claimed she resisted, that she cried, that she begged Liu to stop. But eventually she agreed, and together they came up with a plan. Tuberculosis had been spreading around the school. Dorm gossip said one girl had already been pulled from class. The others were scared, rightfully so. Catching TB during final seasons would destroy their chances at college. So Liu used that fear. She told them her mother had sent a Korean energy drink that boosted immunity, prevented illness, and helped fight off TB. She even gave it a brand name, Bacchus. Sun helped her mix the pesticide with honey and fruit juice to mask the bitter taste. They poured it into cups, and then they waited. And when the other girls came back from evening study hall, Liu smiled and said, let's all drink this to stay healthy. One by one they did, and some girls hesitated, said it smelled weird, and tasted bad. Sun reassured them, the more bitter the medicine, the more effective it is. They believed her, and they drank. Within minutes, the poison started to hit. Cramping, vomiting, tremors. One girl collapsed. Another screamed for help. They tried to reach the door, but Sun blocked it. You're fine, she told them. Just eat some apples, drink some hot water. But they weren't fine. They were dying on the floor, in their beds, on top of each other. Some made it halfway to the hallway before collapsing. Others curled up trying to fight the pain. But none of them made it out. And Sun, she watched. She didn't run, didn't scream. She climbed into bed and went to sleep. And in the morning, she just woke up and stepped over the bodies and out of the dorm room. She had classes to attend. At this point, you might be thinking there is no way Sunru is getting away with this. It's just like a school shooting. Here are the victims, here's the perpetrator. But the most sickening twist is yet to come. Sunru's confession turned this case upside down. She said she didn't kill anyone. Not really. She just helped Liu Shuangshan carry out a suicide pact. A plan she claimed that wasn't even hers. But here's the thing, Liu was dead. Sun was the only one left to speak. And the more that she spoke, the more the public started to wonder, was this really Liu's plan, or was Sun-Roo blaming a corpse? Investigators dug into the details. Sun claimed Liu had begged her to buy pesticide because she wanted to die, that she only wanted to die alone until the fear kicked in. That's when Liu supposedly turned to Sun and said, "I can't go by myself, I need company." Sun said she cried, protested, but gave in anyway. It was a heartbreaking story, but a dangerous one, because the facts still stood. Sun-Roo bought the poison, Sun-Roo passed out the cups. Sun-Roo blocked the door while the girls begged for help. Sun-Roo survived. And when the police asked why she didn't just walk away, she shrugged. "She was my best friend," she said. "I had to help her." Public opinion split fast. Some believed her. They saw two broken girls, one desperate, one manipulated. They said Sun-Roo was dragged into something bigger than herself, a child following a friend into madness. But others did not buy it. They pointed at her calm demeanor, her sleep, her silence. They said a 17-year-old who can calmly lie next to 7 dead bodies all night without shedding a tear, that ain't grief, that's a psychopath. Then came the self-removal note. Found among Liu Shan's belongings, the letter described the entire plan. She took responsibility, said that she couldn't bear life anymore, said she didn't want to die alone. The handwriting matched. That should have been the end of it, but it wasn't, because the letter left one thing unclear. How involved was Sun really? Was she just the hand that passed the poison, or the brain that devised it? Behind closed doors, the court wrestled with those questions. Sun-Roo was charged with murder. Her trial wasn't public. There was no media there to cover reactions or rumors, just quiet testimonies and sealed documents. Because in China, she was still a minor, a few months short of turning 18. But the sentence was loud and clear: life imprisonment. That's how the country treated her. Not as a victim or misguided friend, but as a heartless killer. Years down the line, Sun-Roo's case became infamous. Teachers whispered about it behind locked office doors. Students told ghost stories about room 113. Parents looked at their daughters differently. And everywhere, the same question lingered: was justice really served? Because here's what didn't sit right with folks. Liu Shuangshan was dead. She couldn't defend herself. She couldn't clarify a thing. And Sun-Roo, she walked away with the only story that anyone would ever hear. That's a powerful thing, being the last one standing. And people started to wonder, what if Sun-Roo wasn't just a helper? What if she had planned it all and used the suicide note to spin a neat little exit strategy? See, there were things that didn't add up. Sun never explained why she didn't drink the poison herself. She never explained why she blocked the door. And maybe most shockingly, she never once mentioned regret. Reports would say that even during her sentencing, she just stood there with the same lack of emotion on her face. Many killers express an apology or even shed a tear in front of a judge, at least to get a more lenient sentence, but Sun-Roo didn't even bother in this context. Like, she'd already made peace with it. Then came the twist no one expected. 2013, 15 years after the murders, Sun-Roo was released on parole. She had served time in a juvenile correctional facility and then transferred to prison. And now she was free. Under Chinese law, her identity was sealed. She changed her name and moved to a different city. No photos, no updates. A ghost. The only person who knows what really happened that night, gone from the public eye. But the anger didn't go away. People lit up forums and message boards demanding answers. Some still believed she was innocent, just a lost girl manipulated by a friend with a dark intention. Others called her a murderer who walked free. It was scary not knowing where she was and if she had changed for the better. Perhaps she was a danger to society. Some even went further, saying the suicide note could have been forged, that Sun might have forced Liu to write it before she died. One theory said Liu had wanted to take her own life, yes, but never wanted to hurt anyone else. That Sun had taken the opportunity to wipe out the rest of the dorm and used Liu's grief as cover. Dark stuff. But when there's only one witness, anything is possible. And here's what stings the most. The girls who died, they were never given a voice. There were no journal entries, no notes, no signs that they were planning to take their own lives. They were just 17, studying, dreaming, and getting ready for college. They trusted their roommates, drank what they thought was medicine, and died died in agony on that dorm room floor. They never knew what hit them. Sunwoo's new life is protected, but those girls, their names are on gravestones. And maybe that's the real crime here, because no matter who planned it, no matter who poured the poison, those 7 girls never got the justice they deserve. The Jian High School case never really ended. Sure, the doors to room 113 were sealed, the floor was scrubbed clean, the verdict was handed down, but what Sunwoo left behind didn't disappear. It just waited in silence until another tragedy years later brought that silence roaring back. Her name was Zhu Ling. Born April 24th, 1973, she was every bit the image of a rising star in China. Talented, gentle, and brilliant beyond her years. She was a student at Tsinghua University, known as China's MIT, a school that only the top 0.1% even dared to dream of. Zhu Ling had earned her place, not through favors or family, but through grit. She was majoring in chemistry. She also played traditional Chinese music, loved literature, and swam competitively. Friends called her quiet, kind, modest, all of those qualities that they strived toward. That light dimmed in November 1994. She started getting sick, random stomach cramps, migraines, unexplained exhaustion. Her thick, dark hair began falling out in clumps. Her eyesight blurred. Her limbs trembled. At first, doctors were baffled. Stress? Flu? Nerves? They ran tests and nothing showed up. Her condition worsened. She developed tremors, her memory began to slip, and then on March 6, 1995, she collapsed. She fell into a coma. She was hospitalized for months at Peking Union Medical College Hospital. Her parents watched helplessly as their once joyful daughter lay hooked up to machines. And even then, doctors couldn't pinpoint what was killing her. Finally, it was the internet, just barely emerging in China, that gave her loved ones a chance. A friend posted a desperate message on university forums, begging for help from anyone in the world. Thousands of replies poured in. A third of them had the same word: thallium. Thallium is a deadly heavy metal, odorless, tasteless, and once inside the body, it wreaks havoc. It was used in rat poison before being banned. When doctors tested Zhu Ling's hair, nails, and urine, the results were shocking. She had been poisoned deliberately, and not just once, over time. Her hair showed repeated exposure, as if someone had been slipping her tiny doses again and again, and that's when the police got involved. The prime suspect emerged quickly. Her name? Sunwoo. And it's eerily similar to our first story. She was Zhu Ling's roommate, also a chemistry major, had access to the same labs. She had the opportunity, the proximity, and according to some who knew them, a possible motive. Rumors swirled that Sunwoo resented Zhu Ling's popularity, her achievements, the way professors praised her. Some even claimed Sun had lost out on a class leadership position to Zhu. Jealousy, competition, pride, it wasn't hard to imagine, but imagination doesn't hold up in court. Sunwoo was questioned just once, and she denied everything. She said she had no ill will towards Zhu, that the poisoning had nothing to do with her. And that was it, the case went cold. Many believed Sun's family connections protected her. Whispers of relatives high in the Communist Party, no arrests were made, no charges were filed. Sunwoo changed her name and left China for Australia. And Zhu Ling, she survived, but barely. She woke from her coma in August 1995, but the girl who emerged was not the Zhu Ling people remembered. She was blind. Her mental abilities had regressed to that of a small child. She couldn't speak clearly. She needed help with everything: eating, dressing, going to the bathroom. Her family cared for her full-time, day in and day out, for nearly 30 years. Then came December 2023, and Zhu Ling passed away quietly at the age of 50. Her 72-year-old mother, Zhu Mingxing, said she will never stop trying to seek justice. I will continue to apply. I hope to have an answer. I hope to give Zhu Ling an answer. Zhu Ling is my child, and she is a good child. In the prime of her youth, she almost lost her life, and she has been miserable since. I hate the perpetrator. And Mingxing was not the only one furious. The moment the news hit Chinese social media, the old fury reignited. Millions took to forums, Weibo, YouTube, and comment sections demanding justice and begging for her case to be reopened. Many already knew her story. For younger generations, it was their first time learning about it, but everyone agreed. It was a wound wound that had never healed. Petitions popped up around the world. One in the US called for an investigation into Sun Wei, who now reportedly lived under the name Jasmine Sun in Australia. Another in Australia urged immigration officials to revoke her visa. Neither succeeded. Authorities cited a lack of legal grounds, but the public wasn't interested in technicalities. They wanted closure. And here's where Zhu Ling's story folds into something deeper, because her case and the Jian High School massacre weren't just tragedies, they were warnings. In both cases, the poison came from inside the circle. In both cases, the killer or suspected killer was someone trusted, a friend, a roommate, someone who knew when the victims would be home, when they would be vulnerable, when they would drink from a cup without asking questions. There were no gunshots, no screaming fights, just a slow, quiet kind of death. Because poison doesn't come with noise, it comes with routine, with comfort, with trust. And that's what makes it so terrifying. Maybe that's why these cases still haunt China, because they expose something we all fear, that behind the laughter, the studying, the borrowed shampoo, someone might be hiding the unthinkable. That even in the safest places, dorm rooms, classrooms, best friendships, danger can live just inches away. Zhu Ling deserved better. So did Lu Shuangshan. So did the 6 girls who believed they were drinking a cure for tuberculosis. So what do we take from this? We remember, we name the injustice, and we speak louder than the silence that tried to bury it. Because if justice didn't come when it should have, then maybe our memory is the next best thing. Thank you for watching, y'all. Do you think that Sun Ru was telling the truth, or did she pin the blame on a dead girl? And in Zhu Ling's case, was justice buried along with the evidence, or protected by powerful hands? Let us know your thoughts in the comments. We read every single one. And if this story shook you, hit that like button, subscribe for more deep dives like this, and don't forget to watch the next video on the screen. Stay safe and stay curious.